Alright, so this is a continuation of the other video. The video stopped for some reason, so this is just a continuation, okay? So what you want to do is you want to mark your punch holes. Mark. Okay. Alright. So everything's on there, the punch holes, the notches, 1, 2. Okay, so all my notches are on there and my punch holes, okay? So I'm going to take that off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin both sides, okay? Because I'm supposed to cut 2. I folded it in half. And then they're that identical, left and right. And then I'm just going to cut 2. So I'm going to pin this. Okay, so now we're ready to cut. Okay. So I have my scissor. Just start cutting. Okay, so this, when you take it out, I'll show you. When you take this out, you have two pieces, okay? A right side and a left side, okay? So this is how it should look. Right side, left side. And then I'm going to go get an iron so I can take those creases out. Be right back. Okay. So, what I did last time was I accidentally sewed one side on the correct side. So I'm going to get like a piece of paper or something so I can write on indicating one's inside or outside. So I just have a Post-it and I'm going to write back, wrong side. And what I'm going to do is that. Okay. That way I know which side's which. I'm going to do the same. For that other one. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I am going to iron this, keeping in mind which side's which. Oh no. I forgot to, darn it. I forgot to do the punch holes, see? Shoot. Okay, just make sure these line up. Okay. Wrong side's inside. Punch. Punch. Okay. For this one, the wrong side. Iron it from the correct side. There's some fabrics that can't be ironed. So you just want to make sure you know which one can and can't be ironed, okay? So that way you don't mess your fabric up, okay? So there we go. Those are the two sides, and then I'll be right back, okay? Okay. So I am going to put this away real quick. Okay. Since I already ironed that, I'm going to put that down. Move this over. All right, so this is the wrong side. So what you want to do is you want to sew from the wrong side, okay? I did a bad thing. I didn't put in my notches. I drew them, but I didn't cut them. So I gotta make sure I line these up and cut my notches. Okay. It's really bad. Okay. Rookie mistake. Okay. Now that my notches and my punch holes are in place, I can really start this. Okay. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to sew from the back side, okay? Because you don't want those notches being in the front. It defeats the purpose. So again, what you want to do is you want to line these up. See, these two notches right here should line up. Right there. See it? Okay, these two notches are going to line up. And you're gonna sew all the way a diagonal to 1/2 inch above this start punch hole, and then you want to back stitch. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna you can have your needle down if you want. That's up to you, or up. I think if there's a little hole like that, it's usually better just to have a needle go in between the hole or the notches. Okay, and what you want to do is the same thing. You have to kind of gauge that how steep of a diagonal you want this. So this is not as steep as the other one, right? Because this one, the punch hole is not as far. So you want to have it kind of like at a diagonal and then gauge it, okay? So you want to go 1/2 inch above the dark punch hole, okay? So forward stitch, and then back stitch, and then forward stitch all the way. Kind of want to make sure that your dart hole doesn't go in that line, okay? You walk it when you get kind of close to the end, and then you back stitch, and you forward stitch off. You can pull this up and then pull the thread and snip it. You always want to leave a little hanging so the thread doesn't pull back up into this, or the bobbin doesn't get messed up, okay? So you want to leave a little bit of thread hanging like that, okay? And then, so once you've done that dart, you see how it aligns nicely right there? And there's also seam allowance here, so once you sew it, it'll be nice, but look how nice that looks, okay? And then this end, you see there's a little end hanging. I'm just going to clip that right off so you don't so you don't see it. Okay. So I clipped that right off, and now it's flush, okay? You can go ahead and clip these ends since you're already back stitched. And then now you can go to the other side. Oh. Okay. So what you can do, it looks like I thought this the muslin has like little dots in it. I thought this was the hole, but it's not. The hole's right here. So I have to redo this one. So sad. Can't always be perfect, but we can be imperfectly perfect. We can always redo this if it doesn't look right. That's the magic of this. This is a seam ripper for the purpose of this, okay? So you got to make sure that the punch hole is laying right in between the fabric, okay? Be careful when you're ripping seams with the seam ripper. It could cause a hole in itself, okay? So you don't want to do that. You want to be very careful, okay? Great. So again, let's do this one more time. Okay, so the hole's right there. I don't know why that happened. Sorry. I apologize. All right. Just like before, you want to make sure where the hole is. I'm going to go right in, and the hole's right here. I don't know why I did that. Okay. So, forward stitch, back stitch, forward stitch all the way. Okay, so once you get close, 1/2 inch above, walk it, and then back stitch, forward stitch, off the fabric, and then you want to just pull it, and there you go. Okay, so the hole should be hidden in between. Okay, great. So there you go. Now it's absolutely hidden. All right, same thing with the other side. You want to go from the wrong side, and you want to put the two notches together, make sure they align, and make sure you know where the right punch hole is. Okay, right there, and then just like I said, I like to since there's notches right there, I like to put it right in between the notches. Okay, so it's kind of in between the fabric, and then you forward, back, forward, 1/2 inch above, walk it, okay, back stitch, forward stitch, release, okay. Great. Okay, so that looks really great. And then you see that little hanging edge, it's just coming right over the edge. You want to just clip that off. I cut it at an angle so it goes the way the fabric is going. See, so that's really nice and seamless. So here we go. That one's the first one. There is the dart hole. You can see it's right there, and there's where it ends. Okay, so this hides inside the fabric, so that way you don't see it on the correct side. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna do the other one, and I marked this wrong side. Okay, the wrong side would be just the back side. There's fabric. There's a wrong side and a right side. It's if you have like a printed fabric or whatnot, you can tell easily which side is the correct side and which side is the wrong side, okay? So we're just going to pick that up, make sure we're at the right dart hole. Okay, and then we're going to go right in between the notches. Right, line that up right in between the notches. And then we're going to make sure we know where the dart hole is. Where is the dart hole? That dart hole's right there. Okay, and then we're just going to, I'm just going to mark my dart hole right now because that was really bad the first time I made a mistake. Okay. So, move this up. And put it right in between those little holes. Okay. Okay, and then back stitch and forward stitch. So I marked where my notch or my punch hole is, so I know it's approaching. So you see it right there. Let me just make sure I go half an inch above it. Right, and then back stitch, forward stitch, and then right off the fabric. Okay, and then I can pull that up right there, and then pull that to one side. As you see, again, this fabric is a little bit off of it, so you can cut it, just cut it with the angle of the fabric or the curve of the fabric. All right, and then so this side, we're gonna pull it back. On the wrong side, the notches. So when you pick up the notches, you just want to go like this. You can pick it up like that, okay? If it's on a flat surface, let me see if I can do it on this. You just pick it up like that. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. So you just pick it up from this side. With your two fingers, just pick it up. See? Pick it up. Okay? So what you want to do is make sure those notches align. Pick it up, make sure those notches align. Notches. Okay, so like I said, make sure they align, and then I just put this pin here or this clip here to tell me where the notch hole is because I made the mistake last time. Okay. So I like to have my needle go right in between those notches. Okay, and then so forward stitch, back stitch, forward stitch. So I know it's getting close to my hole, my dart hole, my dart punch hole. So I'm just gonna walk it. I know it's right there. So I'm just gonna walk it. Or when I get close, I'm gonna walk it. I'm gonna back stitch. And then I'm gonna forward stitch right off to the fabric. Okay, and then I can lift the foot up, cut it real close. Okay, and then so if you see the side has a little loose, again, it's hanging off right there. You see it? So I'm just going to cut that, and I'm going to cut it to the fabric. So I can cut at the same time this loose thread at the beginning. Make sure you don't cut the fabric, the piece of the fabric that is not supposed to be cut. So that dart leg, I cut it. So now it's flush. You see? All right. So if you look at this, okay, let me see if I did this right. Yay, I did it right. Okay. So what you want to do is, these are back pieces, right? So if you look at the back piece, they go, let's see if I can do this right. So they go on your back, okay? Back piece like this, other back piece like that, okay? So these two back pieces, if you look at your back, this part curves, right? And then it's straight, and then it curves right here. So it goes like that, okay? So that's why there's these darts. So it curves to the back, okay? So it curves straight and then curves, okay? So same thing as the front darts, you want to have the darts ironed in, right, towards the center back, okay? Because you don't want the illusion of a big back. You want the illusion of a slim back, right? Because this is form-fitting. So I'm going to come back with an iron. I'm going to turn this off and unplug it, and I'll be back with the iron, okay? Okay, so when you do this, when you iron it, I have the iron here. When you iron it, you want to iron, like I said, the darts to the center back, okay? You want to do the same thing for the top as the bottom, because you do not want it to look bigger. You want it to be form-fitting, okay? Okay. So the darts are going to go towards the center back, okay? I turned these around because it's a little harder to do it from the other side. So you can go. So these two, they look really nice. Darts. So I'm done with that. Okay. Looking real nice. Okay, so I'm gonna put my iron away. I'll be back. So I have my center front, my back, right? So I'm gonna sew my center front to my back piece accordingly. So this is the front, right? And then I'm gonna sew the side seams together. So this. And these notches right here should line up. And what you do is you sew correct side to correct side, and then you fold it over, and then the seams will be on the wrong side. Okay? You do not sew it wrong side to wrong side together, because then these will be showing. You do not want these to show, okay? You want this to be on the inside. So how to do that is you sew correct side to correct side. Correct side is the side the darts were not sewn on, okay? Wrong side is where the darts were sewn on, okay? The wrong side's the inside, right? And the correct side is the outside. 1, 2. Let's make sure these line up. I'm going to pin these together with this so that way it doesn't slide on me. Okay. So I'm going to use these. I'm having a hard time. Okay, please line up. Come on. Okay. 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 So I just have these notches line up. I pinned them, and now I'm ready to sew. Just like with the dart, I am going to put the notches right in between the needle. That way, it just lines right up on top of each other. Okay. Okay. So the seam allowance on the side seams and everywhere else is 1/2 inch. The side seam on the collar is 1/4 inch. There are marks on the machine that shows you where all the markings are. So I'm going to line it up with the 1/2 inch mark and make sure that I sew down the 1/2 inch mark, and that would give me a straight line. So forward stitch, back stitch, forward stitch, make sure that wherever you sew, it's a straight line, because you do not want it to pucker up, or you do not want there to be creases wherever you're sewing. That would not look good in the fabric, especially if you're sewing very expensive fabric for a client. And you're gonna walk it once you get to the double notches at the end, back stitch, and then sew off the fabric, and then you want to make sure there's a long enough so it doesn't go back into the machine. You can cut it off, okay? So your fabric, if you look, should be flush, okay? And I open my end towards this side. This side is also flush. You see it? There's a little bit hanging off, very little. So you can actually cut that part that's hanging off just so that it's flush, okay? There you go. And that is one side of it. Now you want to do the other side seam. Okay. So same concept. You want to have correct side to correct side with each other so that way, when you fold it inside, the seam is on the inside, okay? So correct side to correct side. Want to make sure the notches line up. Notches, where are you? Okay, so I usually, when I sew, I make sure that I sew where the ends on this side, because that's where all the measurements are on the machine. It's a little difficult to sew it like this because the measurements aren't that way. They're facing this way, like half an inch. Okay, so 1/4 inch, and then 3/8 of an inch, half an inch, 5/8 of an inch. So they're all going this way. So smallest to large. So when you sew it in, it's easier to sew it in according to the marks than to sew it this way and not being on the marks. It's just a way to make it sure you're exact, or as exact as you can be. Because again, you don't want your side seams to look all crooked or whatever. Okay. Make sure those align. And there you go. Okay. So what you want to do, right up to that notch. Okay, so I have it right in between the notches, and I turn it on. Okay, so you want to go forward, take that one out, make sure you're at the half-inch mark, forward, back stitch. Okay, forward stitch, and once you get close to the pins, you can take them out. And then what happens is when the fabric curves, all you have to do is make sure you're aligned with that half-inch mark, and it'll curve with the fabric the way it's cut. Okay. So on back stitch. And then you want to go right off the fabric. There you go. Okay. So this side is actually nice and flush with that side, so I don't have to cut that. All I have to do is cut this hanging thread. And then if you look on this side, it's also flush, so I'm good there. Okay. So that is my shirt with 2 darts in the front. Okay, and then actually you want to sew the side seams, the top seams together as well. So you, okay, so same thing, you do it correct side to correct side. Okay, and you pin it. Okay, so there's a notch here. Just want to line that notch up. Right. Okay. And then, okay. You want to have the edges flush with each other. Okay. So the shoulder kind of curves, right? So what happens is, if there's any room like that, you can push it down. Okay? Just push it down and it'll be good. And I'll show you what I mean. This thing has an extension for a table. That's why it's like that. You guys are wondering. So that, again, this one's really close to the edge, so I'm just going to take it off. Okay. So you want these notches to match. You just slide it on in. So the shoulder is also 1/2 inch. So all you want to do is you want to put it in at 1/2 inch. And because there's a dart, there might be a little bit of a puckering. You want to just put your hand in there and just pull it down if there's any puckering or anything like that. Just so that way your fabric, like I said, doesn't get caught up in there. Okay, so we're going to sew the shoulder at 1/2 inch. So forward stitch, and then back stitch, and then forward stitch. If there's some fullness, just pull it down, okay? Pull down the fullness. The end should line up. Okay. And then once you get close to the edge, you walk it, and then back stitch, forward stitch, and then you're good. And you see how it flushes? It's flush right there. Oh, it's flush right there. And then it's flush right there. And you just clip this flush right there. And then you just clip this as well. Because you back stitch, you don't have to worry about the threads getting loose, okay?